we have Justin Trudeau taking more asylum seekers than ever, despite Canadians crying out for some common sense immigration levels, at least till
Yeah.
our housing infrastructure, wages,
Jobs.
jobs, healthcare system catches up to the increased burden of, I don't know, 2 million extra people being dumped into our country every single year. And in New Brunswick, Premier Blaine Higgs, who, despite his failings during COVID, and there were many, has made a miraculous recovery into conservatism. He's standing strong on parents' rights. And now he is opposing the Liberals promising to send 4,600 asylum seekers to New Brunswick without any financial support. He said provincial officials were invited to a conference call-in in which it was shared by federal officials in Ottawa that Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's government is considering a plan. See, they'll just do it to you, but they're not going to do it with you. To send 4,600 asylum seekers to New Brunswick without providing any federal financial assistance. This is an increase of more than 10 times our current level of asylum seekers. And they're just like, here, Blaine Higgs, your problem. And Blaine Higgs is saying, the hell you will. So I enjoy that.
Well, and he's not alone in saying no. Your premier saying no too, right?
Yeah. So we are in Alberta. We're booming. Our economy is booming, and that's thanks in no small part to our conservative government. And we do have these ads all around Canada, including in the GTA. They're ads called Alberta is Calling. We would like you to come if you are an internal asylum seeker from Toronto. You know what I mean? If you are a Toronto resident and you would like to live more affordably and be able to afford a house and maybe a vacation and earn a wage that goes a little bit further without a provincial sales tax, you know what I mean? Where you can get something more than a garden shed for $1 million. And we're inviting you to come to Alberta to help us grow our economy. However, we don't want asylum seekers here because, and it's not to say that we don't want asylum seekers, but don't send us a bunch that Justin Trudeau has invited into the country without the additional supports that asylum seekers require. ESL, like English as a second language, job training. No, we're happy to help trained, skilled fellow Canadians. We want you here. Come here and work. But asylum seekers do cause a burden on our infrastructure, our healthcare. And my Premier Daniel Smith said Alberta's government is opposed to the federal government's plan to relocate tens of thousands of asylum claimants to Alberta, especially without any financial assistance to support the province in doing so. Alberta has always welcomed newcomers who possess our shared values, and we will continue to do so. However, last year alone, at an all-time record of over 200,000 people moved to Alberta. That's like adding 2 new Red Deer-sized cities in just 1 year. Although Alberta represents only 11.8% of the Canadian population, we are currently supporting over 22%, over 70,000 of Ukrainian evacuees who arrived in Canada. I'm going to stop right here. We're the best place to do it. Why? They're culturally compatible with Alberta. There are many schools who offer Ukrainian immersion just because it makes more sense in Alberta, given the people who settled here, 70, 80, 100 years ago, many of them being Ukrainian. Often, like Ukrainian is still spoken in the home by the grandparents, by Papa and Guido, or Guido and Baba. So it makes sense to resettle them here, and they'll hit the ground running. Churches are here to support them. I go to St. Sophia's Church. It's in Ukrainian. So it's the best place for them. Section 95 of the Constitution is clear. Immigration is a shared authority between the federal government and the provinces, yet the Trudeau government's unrestrained open border policies permitting well over 1 million newcomers each year in Canada is causing significant challenges, and it's simply not sustainable. Excessive levels of immigration to this province are increasing the cost of living and strains public services for everyone. We're informing the government of Canada that until further notice, Alberta is not open to having these additional asylum seekers settled in our province. We simply cannot afford it. Okay.
And you know who's not putting out a statement? Take a wild guess. Who's not putting
BC?
out? BC, and we're being told that we're going to get 32,000 asylum seekers. I was looking it up, and back in 2017, 32,000 was the number that had arrived to Canada as a whole by September, so within 9 months of the year. And we're getting 32,000, and not a peep from Premier Eby about that one. So,
I know. And again, they're just going to do it to you. They don't
yeah.
even care. And so multiple provinces have spoken out. Blaine Higgs, Alberta. I don't pay as close attention to Saskatchewan as I should, and I think I pay more attention to it than most people in this province. But I'm sure Scott Moe has said or will say something very similar to Alberta. And yet, Immigration Minister Mark Miller says, you know what, if you don't want them, you're getting them anyway. And if you refuse to cooperate, we're just going to put them all up in a hotel near you. So let's go to that clip.
But we've never said anything of the sort. Well, look, right now we could open up a hotel in any particular province and ship people there. That's an option. We have been moving people around to relieve pressure from Ontario and Quebec. It's not a financially viable model. It's not an effective model. But it's one that needs some reform in order to make sure the provinces are stepping up, looking at what their labor force needs are, what the capacity is to help some of these folks as they wait the determination of their protected person status. And it's one where we actually need coordination with provinces. Most of the provinces are at the table talking to us about what these models would be. It's far from being complete. But again, there's only so far the federal government can actually be nice and say, please, please, we also have levers that we need to pull and push. And provinces do get the benefit from immigration. So it's something that we need to deal with in a responsible fashion, and we expect every single province to be responsible. But we've never.
Or you could just not allow them asylum in this country. You could do that too. Like, that's a thing you could do. You know, instead of saying that, look, we can play nice with the provinces, or we could just cram this policy down your throat. You choose. You could also just tighten up the numbers of immigrants being allowed into this country in any number of ways. And one of the largest groups saying it's time to tighten up the numbers is immigrants themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they're
Right.
like, we can't afford to live. You told us if we came to Canada, we would be able to work hard and perhaps achieve a life somehow befitting of the work we put in. But you're not allowing us to do that because you keep bringing in more people.
It's the news event of the year. Canada's most controversial premier sits down with Canada's most controversial journalist, and everything is on the table. Come watch Ezra Levant one-on-one with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith in front of a live studio audience in Calgary. Nothing's off limits. Nothing's held back. Questions that would make Justin Trudeau invoke martial law. Answers that will make Stephen Guilbeault pee his pants. You're not going to want to miss this one. But you have to be there in person at the Rebel News Live mega conference in Calgary on October the 5th. Tickets are limited, so drop everything and go to rebelnewslive.com right now. Special discounted prices for Patriots and special extra high prices if you're with the CBC. Go to rebelnewslive.com now.